welcome back to the Snooze Files. Tonight, we're sinking gently into the shadowy corners of history to explore a figure that's both feared and fascinating: the vampire. But don't worry, this isn't a tale of glittering teens or dramatic neck-biting. We're going back, way back, to a time when the vampire was more mystery than monster. So get comfy, close your eyes, and let your imagination stroll softly through candlelit folklore and ancient fears. This is Vampires Before Twilight, Bloodsuckers Through the Ages. Long before Hollywood added eyeliner and heartbreak to vampire lore, people across the world whispered of shadowy beings that rose from the grave to drain the life from the living. The oldest stories of vampires aren't sleek or seductive. They're oddly practical, created more from fear of the unknown than from any romantic nightmare. In ancient Mesopotamia, the figure of the Ekimmu was feared, a spirit that couldn't find peace and roamed the earth in hunger. It was often blamed for sudden deaths or illness. In ancient Greece, there were tales of Lamia and Empusa, creatures who preyed on sleeping men and children. These early vampires weren't pale lovers of poetry. They were more like cautionary tales with fangs. Eastern Europe, of course, gave us the most iconic versions. In Slavic folklore, the vampire, or upir, was a bloated reddish figure who returned from the dead to torment the living. Garlic, stakes through the heart, and exhumations were real responses to these beliefs. Entire villages participated in vampire hunts, which involved digging up the dead and, well, making sure they stayed that way. In China, the Jiangshi was a stiff, hopping corpse that drained life force rather than blood. Unlike the graceful vampires of cinema, these were awkward and eerie, and they wore traditional burial garments. Even in colonial New England, during the 19th century, fear of vampirism was real. Cases of tuberculosis, which caused pale skin and coughing blood, were thought to be caused by the undead. Families exhumed the dead and, in some tragic cases, burned organs to protect the living. Despite the horror elements, these stories often reflected real fears about disease, death, and the things we couldn't explain. Vampires were a way to put a face to fear. It wasn't until the 18th and 19th centuries that literature softened the vampire's image. John Polidori's The Vampire gave us a dashing, mysterious figure. Bram Stoker's Dracula sealed the romantic vampire myth, dressed in a cape with a taste for moonlit walks and gothic castles. And yet, even now, echoes of the old tales remain. The vampire continues to change, always reflecting what we fear or secretly find fascinating.
And so ends our moonlit tour through the history of the vampire. Before the glitter, before the heartbreak, there was folklore, fear, and a very human need to explain the dark. If your mind is starting to wander, or your eyelids are growing heavy, feel free to drift off now. For more mundane mysteries and sleepy histories, subscribe to the Snooze Files and send me your suggestions for future episodes. Until then, sleep tight.